What's happening, guys? Welcome to Let's Talk Comics, and today I want to talk about the best of the best. These are the books that came out last week that I really think stood out of all the books I picked up last week. These are the ones that stood out the most, the ones I call the best of the best. I've got two books this week, and both of them are from Marvel. You know, it's probably hard to believe that, you hear so much talk about Marvel, about how Marvel's in the toilet, Marvel's circling the drain, they don't have anything good out there. And then both the books that I enjoyed this week that I thought were head and shoulders above everything else are both Marvel books. So the first one we have here is Punisher #6 by Benjamin Percy, and this has new artist on it, Farid Karmay. I'm sure I butchered that name, but I really enjoyed this issue of the Punisher right here. The art I thought was incredibly spectacular. Just really strong art. Captures all the action. You know, a lot of times you'll hear people say it's hard to do car chases in comic books, but I felt like they really captured that right here. They really understood the assignment. You can see and kind of really feel like the motion of the car, the impact of the airbag, the cop, she's getting out, running on foot, you know. And then we see right here that the car has hit these spikes, flipped, and then the police officer arrives. And then we see, I love this shot of Frank right here. You know, we see the barrels of his guns smoking, knowing he's the one that put those guys down. So, the really cool thing about this issue here, and this is something I noticed, is Frank does not speak at all one time in this entire issue. This entire issue basically has everybody reacting to Frank. The overall story is there has been a series of murders taking place across the 5 boroughs of New York, and Frank is kind of starting to catch the blame for that. He visits the morgue right here, and the guy who's working at the morgue tells him, he goes, "I don't know how to explain this. I really don't. If I hadn't stopped drinking, maybe I'd blame it on myself, but I've got blood from Freshie 1 on Freshie 2, and I've got blood from Freshie 1 and Freshie 2 on Freshie 3. So basically what he's saying is all these people here that died, they've got traces of blood on them from the previous victims. And like he says here, this wasn't just the same gun, it was the same bullet. So that's really cool. You have essentially somebody is killing multiple people throughout New York, and they're using one gun and one bullet. So it's really some kind of, like we see right here, this old lady sitting on the park bench, and we see the bullet goes through 3 pigeons and then circles back and then wastes her. Really cool stuff right here. I'm really looking forward to next issue, especially now that we've got this new guy on here drawing. I think previously, I want to say he was on the Avengers book. So here's a really cool look at this. These blue lines indicate the trajectory of this bullet. I don't even know if you call it trajectory or not, but it shows the bullet's path, so to speak. So we see that it's all over this city. And then we see this is the guy right here that fired it. So it's really, like I said, it's really like that movie Wanted, where the guy's making the bullet curve and do all that kinds of crazy shit. It's like this, but times 1,000,000. So Punisher is one of my books that really stood out to me. The other one is Fantastic Four. This is kind of like a homage to the Ghost Rider 2099 cover. This is by Ryan North, and Andrea Sorrentino is the guest artist on this book. For this issue, Humberto Ramos is out. Andrea Sorrentino, I first stumbled across with, I believe it was iVampire, and then also the Green Arrow storyline that Jeff Lemire wrote. But we got a really cool opening shot right here of Ghost Rider crashing in this guy's pad. He's really basically what he's doing is he's punking this guy down. He's threatening him. This is like a bad guy, a mystical bad guy, and he's threatening them. He says, you know, basically stop what you're doing, or I'll use my penance stare on you, which I know is really, you know, that's like the Ghost Rider's ultimate weapon. If you're unfamiliar with Ghost Rider, penance stare is his ultimate weapon. I really love Sorrentino's layouts here. This is kind of like a trademark for them. All these little small panels inside a bigger page. And then we see that it was not Ghost Rider. We see that it is, in fact, Invisible Woman and Johnny Storm. She's riding on the back of the motorcycle, and she has turned his face invisible, and he is in conjunction using his flame powers. So basically what they're doing is they are riding around, and they are punking out these villains, because the villains think the Fantastic Four are such goody two-shoes. They don't really have to worry about them. You know, what's the worst they can do? But they know that Ghost Rider operates at a whole different level than the Fantastic Four. So they're essentially scared of Ghost Rider. And so basically what Johnny and Sue decide to do is they're going to just track all these villains down, and they're going to scare the hell out of them. And so we see them, Johnny and Sue, encounter the Red Ghost, Mad Thinker, Trapster. And then they come across the Wizard here. And the Wizard essentially calls Johnny Storm's bluff. And he goes, go ahead, use the penance stare. The Wizard's thinking that he's brilliant, he's a genius. Penance stare won't work on him. He'll be able to use his superior will. And he goes, incredible, I didn't feel anything. And he goes, wait, I didn't feel a thing. And then he kind of starts to put two and two together, and the Wizard realizes that this is Johnny Storm and the Invisible Woman. And then he just starts beating the hell out of Johnny Storm. Really cool looking double page spread here. Andrea Sorrentino, great fill-in work. You know, I don't even understand why Sorrentino doesn't have their own book right now. That's how, you know, how much I think of their work. So the Wizard gets the drop on them. He beats them up, and then he basically says he's going to live stream him killing them. Then we see Ghost Rider actually show up. And he says he's going to use a penance stare on them. He cowers down. Thing punches him in the face, knocks him out. And come to find out, that's not really Ghost Rider at all. That is the Skrull son that the Thing and Alicia is raising. The chains are Mr. Fantastic's fingers, you know. So some trickery right there. And of course, Johnny being Johnny, you know, he's like, hey, we keep this act going. We could keep doing this, you know. And Sue, look at Ben. Ben's got his hand on his face, like, oh my God, really? And then Sue is like, no, we had to be rescued by literal children. But before this issue ends, we see here in the distance, Ghost Rider is watching them with a set of binoculars. And he comes riding by. Johnny looks at him, and then Ghost Rider does this really cool move right here where he's like, I got my eyes on you. I got my eyes on you, boy. Don't try this no more. And then he hauls off. And then, of course, Johnny's still talking, and he's like, okay, so Reed, how about we do Wolverine? We could do Wolverine, you know. Just a very fun, one-and-done story by Ryan North. As I've said a million times at this point, Ryan North absolutely gets these characters. He absolutely understands them and how to portray them. He captures the essence of each of them. He captures the family element. Just really a Mount Rushmore of Fantastic Four writers. Ryan North is. So my favorite two books for the week to wrap everything up: Fantastic Four, The Punisher, two Marvel books. Don't believe the discussion that Marvel doesn't have anything out there that's good. Both these books incredibly strong. So till next time, I will talk to you guys later. Y'all have a good day. Bye bye.